Good afternoon, good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us here at Nationwide at 5. I'm Cliff Hughes.
And I'm Chevon Campbell.
Good afternoon, Mr. Campbell.
Good afternoon, Sir Hughes.
Good, and in our cover story this afternoon, some political developments. The Member of Parliament for North East St. Anne, the JLP's Marsha Smith, has resigned from her position with immediate effect. That's a key term, immediate effect. The Office of the Prime Minister made the announcement in a statement this afternoon.
Ms. Smith won the constituency in September 3, 2020. It was formerly represented by the late Shahini Robinson. However, Smith's relationship with her constituents quickly soured with protests against her starting in 2022.
Placard-bearing residents descended on the constituency office at least 3 times in 2022, demanding Smith's replacement. They said they were suffering from Smith's poor representation.
We don't want Marsha! We are suffer down here! We are suffer! Mr. Leader! Go help us! We want help! And we're not voting! We're not voting if we don't get our own!
The protesters also said they were even more upset with Prime Minister Andrew Holness, who they claimed had been turning a blind eye to the situation.
Sir, what do you want us to do? We're done with Marsha now. We're talking about you, Mr. Holness. Pay attention, sir, not because we don't call your name. Means say, we don't have none to set you. Although you don't come out and say nothing to the people of North East St. Anne. Wham to shine the legacy down here, so. We don't need Marsha no more, sir, but if you don't stand up strong and you don't open your mouth and do something, we don't need you either.
A resident there of Northeast St. Anne protesting for the removal of Marsha Smith back in 2022. Later that year, a nationwide news probe revealed that Smith was leading a group of members of Parliament who had failed to fully utilize their annual allocations under the Constituency Development Fund, the CDF.
The probe revealed that she had an unallocated unspent sum of more than $16 million up to the end of October that year of the $19 million total that is allocated to MPs. And later in 2023, it was revealed that Smith will not contest the next general election, with Matthew Samuda selected as the party's new standard bearer in the constituency.
Prime Minister Holness gave Senator Samuda his endorsement during a constituency conference. The Prime Minister said he was confident in Samuda's ability to represent the constituency effectively.
I know he will do well here. First of all, he is well organized, very well organized. He wants to get things done, and he is very eager to get it done. He is resourceful. It's one thing to say, I will do or I will try. It's a whole different ball game to get it done. So the organized person, the person with the ambition, the vision, and the mission must also be resourceful. They must be able to mobilize to get things done. And that is Matthew Samuda. I am confident that Matthew Samuda will be a very good representative for all the people of North East St. Anne.
That's Prime Minister Andrew Holness. Smith, an attorney, is also the State Minister in the Ministry of Education and Youth. Several calls placed to Ms. Smith's phone this afternoon went unanswered. However, we're now being joined by the Councillor of the Ocho Division in Northeast St. Anne and St. Anne's Mayor, Michael Belnavis, to discuss this further. Good afternoon, Sir Belnavis.
Good afternoon, Cliff. How are you doing?
I'm good. That's Chevon, actually.
Oh, okay, Chevon.
Thanks for the mixing up.
Let me ask you, Mayor Belnavis, you have been in Northeast St. Anne for a very long time. Yes. Your reaction to the news, not unexpected, but with immediate effect, the resignation today of Marsha Smith, your reaction?
Well, first we need to thank Marsha for, coming out there and really doing what she had to do, really bridging the gap between Shahini's death and the trying to keep the seat together. But as you know, political representation on the ground sometimes takes a special personality. And I guess Marsha would rather do the things that is more parliamentarian in terms of being more ministerial, if you want to put it that way. She was with the Ministry of Education currently, and then previously she was with the Ministry of Finance. So she's doing pretty good in that portfolio, or those portfolios. So I think she's better suited in that arena because on the ground, her inexperience was brought to the fore, and the representation as far as dealing with people, interpersonal relationships, and so on. It just didn't quite work out. So it was expected, and we anticipate that Matthew Samuda coming in is going to really change the dynamics of what is happening right now in Northeast St. Anne.
So, as you said, Mayor Belnavis, this was expected, but the immediate effect ahead of a general election was not as anticipated. So, is there a appetite for a by-election in the constituency so close or so soon after a local government election?
Well, the people have been crying out for some political change down here. And with such a convincing victory that we've had, we had all 4 councils victorious in St. Anne. We've got the mayorship. We have control of the municipal corporation. We're ready to go, ready to take charge. And we need to ensure that we have good representation at the MP and ministerial level and levels here. And we're ready to go. We want to ensure that we have that level of competence in working with people. And Matthew Samuda has done a phenomenal job in the few months that he's been down here. He's been working with back to school. He's been working with the dead yards, working with the churches, and been working with the people. He has that natural ability to connect with people, and that connection is manifesting itself in a groundswell for him currently. And we're excited to have him.
And do you anticipate a by-election soon?
Well, I mean, I can't say a by-election will be coming, but what I will say is that we're ready to take on whether it be by-election or a general election, any sort of election right now. Coming out of the parish council election, we're ready to go. I know certainly in Ocho here, we won comfortably. We're doing what is necessary to just keep the politics alive, the seat alive, the area alive. And we're just coming out of back to school, and the support there was phenomenal. We did a program for all the craft vendors where they all got back to school, unprecedented, and Matthew Samuda was instrumental in that. We did something for the workers of the party. We did something for people generally. Even the PMP people came. Some people were saying there are PMP there, but the fact is that we did it for everyone. So everybody benefited. And that's the good thing about Shahini. She set the template as to, we deal with representation. It's not party politics. It's representation. So down this side, if you recall, Cliff, back in the day in the 90s, this was a solid PNP seat. The dynamics have changed because Shahini has put a template out there to represent people, not PNP people or JLP people, but people from Northeast St. Anne. And people follow where they get the representation. And Matthew Samuda has taken on the mantle, and he mirrored Shahini in that arena. He's so committed, he's so dedicated, and I know the PM said the person that comes down to Northeast St. Anne and Ocho needs to have resources that can galvanize resources, because the people down here, it's resource driven, and he certainly can provide resources. He has done that and has shown that.
Mayor Belnavis
was phenomenal.
With the resignation today of Ms. Smith, there's now 3 vacancies in the country?
Essentially, yes.
South Trelawney, Northeast St. Anne, and what's the third?
Clark. And Dr. Clark.
And Dr. Clark in Northwest.
And there's some parish council seats too.
Yes.
That are vacant, yeah.
Yes. And it is all reporting that some other veteran MPs are likely to indicate in the coming days, if not weeks, that they are retiring from frontline politics as well. Mayor?
Yes. The change of dynamics and change on the party politics. It's a dynamic industry, if you want to put it that way, and there's always going to be change. And you feel the aging and the emergence of young, bright people in the politics. And Matthew Samuda is an emerging star. He's done so well as the water minister. They call him the water boss. And his trajectory to the seat here
how organized is the PNP in Northeast St. Anne today?
Cliff, the numbers show they were very ineffective in the parish council election. They just did not galvanize the hearts and minds of the people. They lost miserably in Ocho. the Sentence Bay and Exchange are lost even bigger, and certainly they had some semblance of a flicker in the Limehall division, but the Sentence, Northeast Sentence, is one of two constituencies where the JLP won all 4 divisions. So we don't anticipate anything more than just a show from the PMP if there was a by-election or a general election called.
Well, how is the rest of the parish of St. Anne, up in northwest St. Anne? How is that looking with Krista Lee, the sitting MP there?
Well, she also won all 4 divisions in northwest. So she's doing well also.
And Xavier Main in southwest?
Xavier won a seat that was a PNP bastion with Miss Thomas, called her Moffett. She beat the minority leader for the PNP, so that tells you something. So we've done well. The only sort of hope that the PNP has is in Lisa Hanna's old seat of southeast St. Anne. And of course, you know that's the one that Lisa barely won, like 30-something votes the last general election, where she had to go through and recount and so on. That is one of the strongest PNP seats in the country, and they had to go through a recount. So that tells you that things are not great for PNP in St. Anne. Certainly, you know that we have 11-5 in the council. We when I came in 2016, PNP had 11 and JLP had 5. We reversed that and we held on to it in the last parish council elections, when the dynamics of things, even with the dynamics of change in the political arena, because you know things were down for the JLP, but not down and out, because we held strong in St. Anne.
Thank you, Mayor Michael Belnavis. He's a councillor for the St. Anne's Bay Division in Northeast. Ocho Division in Northeast St. Anne. Thank you, Mayor Belnavis.
Great.
Good. After the break, we'll hear from 2 political commentators, Kevin O'Brien Chang and Jermaine Barrett.
We're still on the matter of what we expect to be a shake-up of the government ranks in the coming days and weeks. There's word this afternoon that Prime Minister Andrew Holness is set to revamp his administration and the governing Jamaica Labour Party. It's understood that the immediate resignation today of MP for North East St. Anne and State Minister of Education Marsha Smith is the first of several imminent changes.
And of course, this against the backdrop of the news a week ago that the MP for Northwest St. Andrew and the Finance Minister, Dr. Nigel Clark, is leaving the government in 2 months at the end of October. Yes, and word today of the immediate resignation, and it's all reporting that more resignations are to come later this week and the coming days. Political commentators Kevin O'Brien Chang, Jermaine Barrett, good afternoon.
Hi, everybody.
Good afternoon, Mr. Hughes.
Good afternoon.
Chevon.
Kevin O'Brien Chang, what do you make of the immediacy of the resignation today of Marsha Smith and, of course, the Prime Minister's search for a successor to Nigel Clark?
Well, it's some would say long overdue. You have heard many cries from the Labourites themselves in that constituency that they weren't satisfied with Ms. Smith. So, at a minimum, it shows Andrew Holness is listening to the people on the ground. Maybe a little late, they might say, but better late than never. And that he's not going to try to push somebody on the people who they don't want, which is always a disaster. Of course, Mr. Holness is a chess player, you know. So you can never be sure that this obvious move is the one that Mr. Samuda is going to replace Ms. Smith. You know, they have the Nigel Clark one, we know who's going there. But there are the places where they seem to be weak. I'm not going to call the names, but people can know weak constituencies where Samuda might be stronger there and suppose they parachute somebody in from Ms. Smith. And there are a lot of, as I said, older MPs who people expect to go soon. The energy isn't there. And you know, the number one thing in politics, I've always said that to succeed in politics, the number one thing people need is fire in the belly. You have to want it. Shelley and Fraser always says, who wants it the most usually gets it. And if you have people who have gotten lazy in their job, not going to put out the 100%, usually they lose. So if you watch around the world, incumbents have been getting booted left, right, and center. Very few incumbents have been winning. So the Labour Party is going to have to kind of run as a challenger. In other words, change the faces, get a lot of fresh new faces, and said we're new and different. We're not the same Labour Party that I've gotten bored with. We are young, fresh, and different with new faces. You can regard us as not the former JLP, but the new JLP, not the one that got beat in the local government elections. So that may be one of the strategies that Andrew Holness is going to come with. Lots of new faces, but the new and improved JLP, not the previous one.
And Jermaine Barrett, come hell or high water, this time 2025 we will be in a general election. Is the timing appropriate now for a shakeup?
If not, know when. I mean, we are just 1 year ahead of the general elections. Rather, is just 1 year ahead, and so it is definitely time for the Prime Minister to make the moves that are necessary to secure as best as he can a third term. I just want to make a quick comment on the question asked of my colleague commentator here. Why the sudden resignation? It's a curious occurrence because I think with the discussions going on in the political arena surrounding Minister Nigel Clarke's imminent departure and so forth, it definitely does feed into a particular narrative that the administration may very well be in crisis. I don't buy that, but I think an indication that there is the departure is imminent with some time for a particular a proper transition would have potentially been a more appropriate. But I do appreciate that it was some time coming. She had indicated, and the administration had indicated, that she would not be going back for another term. The constituents were disgruntled for some time now, from 2022. But then it definitely does feed into a particular narrative that is, I don't think, very helpful for the administration. The immediacy of her departure.
Do you believe that her departure, coupled with Dr. Clarke's imminent departure come October, is what is precipitating this need for a radical shakeup? Or is it more a concern about the general perception of the Holness administration heading into 2025?
I think it is a bit of both. I think the administration feels the pressure. The PNP is definitely nipping at his heels. The polls are indicating that, public sentiment is indicating that the people are really not as delighted with the Andrew Holness administration as they formerly were. And so the sheen has rubbed off, and the administration, the Andrew Holness-led administration, has to do something radical to win the people's trust and confidence with just a year to go before the general elections.
What say you on that, Kevin?
And I agree. That would make sense to me. Probably a bit of both. And you have Ms. Dallarimple's constituency. She's retiring also. And as I said, the polls are showing it, whether they're accurate or not. People are debating that. But they do the local government elections. It shows that the people who are disgruntled or tired or bored, you never know what people vote for. So they probably have to come a new face. And as I said, get energy in the party. You talk to people, and I said, JLP is almost as if they don't care if they win back. You get a feeling of lassitude. So if they want to win back, they have to get people in place who have fire in the belly, who really want to win the next election, rather than say, if I win or lose, I don't care. Because that's what you pick up from a lot of people, that the energy is just not there in the JLP, despite their accomplishments and all that. And the public, people forget before P.J. Patterson and Edward Seaga. It was a two-term syndrome in Jamaica, 2 in, 2 out, and then you had PJ against Edward Seaga, who was very unpopular, and PJ won 4 straight, but we have come back to normalcy or some sort. One term, and the whole is at 2 terms now. Historically, 2 terms, you get booted after that. And if he did business as usual, there's a strong chance that he will lose. So he has to come with, present to the Jamaican people, we are a new and different and presumably improved JLP, not the fat, lazy one, which some people are thinking. That's what they're seeing now, a fat, lazy incumbent party.
And Kevin, looking now at the Minister of Finance portfolio, which is critical if you're going into a general election, this signal being sent by the Prime Minister of a potential shakeup, is it essentially him looking now at his crop of ministers and saying, well, I don't see a finance minister here? Can we read that into this change with Marsha Smith's immediate not dismissal, but resignation?
My old friend, I know a long time, Damien, at the Gleaner, right? He put it today that perhaps Mr. Holness will take the nominal finance minister himself, but bring into the Senate maybe somebody from the private sector and put them as, a minister in the with a portfolio in the Prime Minister's office and make them the de facto finance minister. That's a possibility because the finance minister has to be elected. But a lot of people who will be willing to contribute to be a minister, they don't want to go to the rigmarole of elections. That's a reality. Mm-hmm. So who knows? As I said, Andrew Holness is a chess player. He might pull that one off. I don't see why it wouldn't work. If somebody from the private sector who is skilled in finance, has the knowledge, the practical knowledge, said, I'll serve as finance minister, Mr. Holness, but I know how to get election business. That's a possibility.
That is a possibility, and it is being spoken about inside the Labour Party, I gather, more and more, that some people would like the Prime Minister to take control of the Ministry of Finance and have someone possibly through the Senate go to the Senate, to the ministry, to assist him in a lot of the day-to-day legwork that would be required.
But Andrew Holness better not take on too much, I will say that. He's seen as a one-man band by many and taking on too much. A lot of people feel one of the reasons the JLP seems a bit confused is because Andrew Holness has too much on his plate. Mm-hmm. We are all only human. No matter the best and the smartest, the most energetic can only handle so much. Mm-hmm. So there is that feeling among many people. So if he does put somebody there, I would hope he's only there for the face and let the other person do the work. If he tries to take on much more, his party is already seen as a bit confused. He is the organizer, the general. The general has to delegate to his colonels and his majors. If he tries to do everything, he's going to end up in big trouble. That is my view. He already is seen as not in full control.
Final word.
Because too distracted.
Final word from you, Jermaine, on that.
Yes, and I agree with the sentiments here. It was on this very same station that I shared a view that suggested that it would have been unwise for the Prime Minister to really take on the portfolio of finance. But as I've thought about it long and hard and reflected and discussed it with others, I realized that it could very well be a strategic move. Definitely finance. He has definitely shown himself to be an excellent communicator, having an excellent grasp of the issues within finance. And given the fact that a lot of the pain points that confront many Jamaicans right now have their solutions embedded within finance, it might very well be wise for him to take the lead in that portfolio. It though would necessitate him dropping clearly the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation and other responsibilities that are now burdening him. So to free him up to really, really press for the win the third time around.
Okay. Thank you very much, Jermaine Barrett, Kevin O'Brien Chang. Thanks, gentlemen, for the perspectives. Good. That's a cover story.